Hello, this is Stephen Bedard. I've been talking about the Jesus myth theory for quite a long time. Jesus myth theory is basically that there was no historical Jesus, not just that he wasn't the Messiah or the Son of God, but he just didn't exist. There was no Jesus, son of Joseph and Mary. There was no 12 apostles and so on. And oftentimes, the Jesus myth theory also includes ideas that the Gospels were based on pagan myths and Greek and Egyptian and other cultures there that had concepts of dying and rising gods, and the Gospels are basically just about that. I've been talking about that for a long time. Since at least 2006, when Stanley Porter and I co-wrote the book Unmasking the Pagan Christ, where we were responding to Jesus' mythicist Tom Harper in his book The Pagan Christ. So I talk about that. I even have a website, jesusmyththeory.com, but I will not debate Jesus mythicists. And I don't mean just formal debates in some hall where you would be face to face and putting forth your arguments. I don't do debates like that in general, but I won't even have conversations online with mythicists anymore. I've done it in the past, but I just don't do it anymore. And the reason I don't do that is not because I don't care about the truth or I am angry at mythicists or anything like that. It's nothing to do with that. It's basically because it is almost impossible to have a rational conversation with someone who is deeply committed to the Jesus myth theory. So I'll give you an example of why I won't do this. They will come out and say that there is zero evidence that Jesus ever existed. Well, that is absolutely not the case. There is evidence. The Gospels are evidence. Paul's letters are evidence. Josephus is evidence. Even some of the writings, other early Christian writings, and some of the early Roman writings. There's actually a fair bit of evidence, but they discount all of that. And they will say, "Oh, you can't use that kind of stuff. That's not good enough, either because it is scripture, or there's evidence that there had been some tampering with Josephus," which I agree that there is evidence of that tampering, or else that it was written too long afterwards, which is not the case, or that it is biased towards Christian beliefs, and they'll say you can't use any of that. And yet historians use evidence like that all the time. They don't care if it is religious scripture. That doesn't disqualify anything from being used as historical evidence. They use writings that were written well after what we have with the New Testament in comparison to when the events being described there took place. We have, everything is biased. We've not encountered any historical evidence that's not biased. Either it is biased in favor of or against a particular figure or a movement. It's all biased, especially in the ancient world. Everything had either a religious or philosophical or political bias that's there. So those things don't exist. But they'll say, "Oh, you can't use that. That there is no evidence." Even though there is no way that you could just contact a historian at a recognized university and say, "Can we just agree that there's no evidence for Jesus?" They would laugh if you said that, because even if they're not a Christian, in fact, being a Christian has nothing to do with believing in the existence of a historical Jesus. If they are atheist or Jewish or Muslim or anything else, they would say, well, no, actually, there's pretty good evidence that Jesus existed. They might have some doubts about the miracles, about the resurrection and that kind of thing, but that Jesus actually existed, there would be no doubts. There is no doubts in the historical world. Now, I'm not just talking theological. I mean, in among historians, there is no doubts. And yet, mythicists will laugh. They will laugh that there is anyone who actually believes that Jesus existed, because there is this supposedly zero evidence for Jesus. And how do you talk to someone like that? To be honest, it's the same thing as talking to anyone who believes in any conspiracy theory. It doesn't matter how many facts you put forward. They can discount anything that you say, and will discount anything you say. They're not interested in a rational conversation. What they are interested in is proving that they know more than the experts. The experts are the ones who are deceived. These people who have no formal training in these areas, they are the ones who know the truth, and they can look upon the experts with contempt. And so, how do you have a conversation like that? So why do I talk about Jesus myth theory? I do it for those who are on the fence. They're hearing these claims, they're not sure what to do with it, and I have seen evidence in my own life of talking to people who have encountered what I have said, and it has brought them back from the brink. And so those are the kind of people that I do this for. But if you are a Jesus mythicist, God bless you. You're welcome to believe whatever you want. But I am not going to put my time into debating back and forth about these things. I put forward my understanding of the historical sources. You can put forward yours, and we'll let everyone else decide what they think is best. Thank you for listening to this. I hope that you check out my website, JesusMythTheory.com. Subscribe to the channel, and God bless.